Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. My name's Frank. Today I'm really excited to team up with Kabam Games to help promote their new mobile game, Marvel Realm of Champions. They actually reached out to me just a few days ago asking if I could build something from their new game, and well, I think you guys already know where this is going. Today guys, I want to show you how I printed and built the Iron Legionnaire's special weapon, the Super Laser. And just like customizing characters in the game, I customized it to fit my Mark 85. Now, I wish I could have made the whole suit, but I kind of have my own already, so I didn't really need it. Overall, I think it turned out pretty good, and it features a little motion sensor, so when I lift my arm up and down, it turns on and off. But before I could work my magic on this thing in just 3 days, first I needed a 3D model to actually print it. So I reached out to my buddy over at Promethean Props. I know him as RD, he's a great guy and a good friend. But more importantly, he's an absolutely wicked 3D modeler. And after sending him just 2 reference images, he got back to me with these fully 3D printable files in less than 24 hours. The files came out perfect, and I really implore you guys to please go check out his work and support him a little bit too. Through this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I 3D printed this, assembled it, did the electronics, and painted it. But before any of that could happen, we need to go back to the beginning. So here we are back at the beginning of the build. I just got the files and I want to take you guys through the little process I do of evaluating them and trying to figure out what printer to put them on and how I'm going to orient them and actually slice. Let's take a look. Now these are the reference images I sent him along with a couple others, and you can see the cannon. It is a little detailed, but it's mostly a pretty square and or round object. So based on that, he got back to me super quick with these designs and these renders, and the cannon looks absolutely amazing. I was blown away with how quickly he was able to do this and model it, and now it's going to be up to me to print it really quickly and get this thing built. He actually went and designed a little bit of a mount similar to the reference images on how I can mount this on my Mark 85. Alright, so here they are guys, dropped onto the build plate. I have a custom just giant bed loaded into here. I think it's 10,000 by 10,000. It's just so I can see these models and they can arrange properly, and these look perfect. So what I want to do from here is I want to spread some stuff out here. This way I can get a better look at everything. Alright, I've got everything oriented kind of how I want on each printer. So let's get these on the proper printers. We'll get them sliced. We'll look at the times. We'll look at the filament requirements. I got everything sliced, loaded. This is mostly going to be Sunlu and Monoprice PLA Plus. So we're going to go into the print room. So all the printers are going, and we'll come back, and in about 5 hours, everything will be printed. Everything printed out just great. Now it's time to get everything off the rafts and supports. Assembling this thing for the first time was both nerve-wracking and exciting. The whole time I was trying to evaluate and think where I could actually put the electronics. So I landed on just having to hollow out and bore out most of the main body. And I was able to do that with just my soldering iron. I was able to kind of cut the hole out and kind of pull out the actual infill. And since doing this, he's actually gone and modified the files. So now these all are hollow, but due to the time crunch, we didn't have the luxury of the R&D back and forth, just talking about concepts and all of that. So just hollowing everything out, making room for the battery, making room for the wires really paid off in the end. And a little soldering iron really did the trick. So the electronics are actually done being integrated for now. The concept that I'm going with here is I bored out the actual inside of this main body, and then these two wires go to the switch that I've hidden right down there. So that's going to be kind of sanded down and hidden right behind that main mounting plate. And the general idea here is this part is going to be held on with some Velcro, and if I pull this out, that's really where the battery is. This is a 3-volt rechargeable LiPo battery, and I just melted the channel in with my soldering iron. Now, the reason I didn't ask him to model any of this in because I wasn't sure how I was going to do the electronics. And then the LiPo battery just kind of locks back down in there, and it'll fit in there, and then feed through a hole there. And then this is 2 different parts. Let me pop that off. And then this little switch right here comes from these cosplay LED eyes I have. I have tons of these leftover battery packs from when I integrated these into the helmets. So all I did was cut open and pull the switch out of this little battery pack, and it comes pre-wired. And then what I did is I actually fed it through. Let me pop this off. I think it's still used a little bit of super glue to hold that on, but we'll get that off later. And I melted a hole right through there, and then I kind of sunk the switch into there, and then I fed the wires through. So this is as far as I'm going to go with the electronics until I wire and assemble it. This is the pre-assembly, but now we can actually move into the garage and get to painting. All right, I got all my parts here in the new paint booth. It's the first time I get to test out the upgraded paint booth. It is so warm in here. The space heater is working so much better. I'm happy. We're going to sand everything down, get it on some sticks, and start priming. Everything is sanded and ready to be painted. I varied between what I was using. I mostly used my 60 grit palm sander on the very large areas and the bits that I could get to, and then I actually took some 60 grit hand sandpaper for the smaller parts, and it cut down everything just beautifully. And then I did run over with some wood filler on some of the parts that had really bad top layers. There's a little bit in there, there's a little bit in there, just to clean it up a little bit. It's already dry. It dries super fast. By the time you're done applying it to one piece, it'll pretty much be dry in the next, and you can sand it right back down. I'm going to be priming it with this Rust-Oleum Krylon gray primer. It's ultra flat. It's not high fill filler primer, but it still gets the job done, and it'll preserve a lot of the details. So let's get painting. So now what I've gone and started doing, because I have this time crunch, I can't let this gold cure long enough. Normally I would need to let this gold cure for 2 days before I tape it off. So I'm actually hand brushing the gunmetal on. And how I'm doing that is I'm literally taking the can of spray paint, spraying it into a little tin, and hand brushing it on. Now, like, this works just fine. You just have to be quick with it. So I'm gonna go finish painting this, and I also added just a little bit of detail in there. But after that, we're gonna bring it back inside and start assembling and wiring. So I wanted to take a quick minute and actually talk to you guys about the game. So what is Marvel Realm of Champions? At its core, it's an RPG. Well, more specifically, it's an action RPG. but instead it features all of your cool favorite Marvel characters. Now, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't something I was genuinely interested in. I like video games, I like Marvel, I like nerdy stuff, and another source to pull content from. More props, more items, more weapons, more lore. What's even cooler is it's a team-based multiplayer, so I can play with you guys online. If you join the Discord and hop in there, I'm sure we can set up some little play dates and join teams and stuff, so that'll be actually pretty cool to do. The game has a lot of action in it, it looks great, and the characters are super customizable. That's one of the key points of this game. You're not just getting thrown these stock-based characters that you can't do anything with. You can go through, customize them, and make them your own. And I think you guys kind of know the team I'm gonna go with. So I hope to see you guys playing it. I really hope you guys can download the game, try it out. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Share it with your friends if they're nerds too. It helps support the channel, it helps support Kabam Games, and it helps me do more content like this, and I'm really excited about this. Just 3 days ago, this thing literally didn't exist in this world, and it's all thanks to you guys, so let's get back to the build. All right, everything's dry and back in. I was able to paint the gunmetal on this little part, and I also threw just a little bit of chrome in there as well. While this was drying though, I went ahead and actually did the rest of the electronics. So what we have here is a 3-volt rechargeable LiPo battery, and I wired in a JST connector, and these can be had on Amazon for super cheap. I just cut off the 3rd wire. It's just a very standard connector. This way I can plug it into whatever electrical system I want, and I can still charge it. Followed by that is an LED strip. This is a 3-volt blue LED strip. I have tons of them. These things, you can get these so cheap on Amazon too. And this is a nice blue. It's gonna look really good in the barrel. And then here is a ball switch tilt sensor. Now you can get this for a standard Arduino kit, but you don't need an Arduino to wire it. A lot of these sensors and triggers can be utilized without any programming. Now the 3 pins are your negative, is on the bottom, the middle is your 5-volt, and the top is your S, your signal. Now the switch won't activate typically until signal is allowed through. So all you have to do is wire the 5-volt to the actual middle 5-volt and then the signal, and that'll let the sensor work. Now this doesn't work on every sensor. Some do need some type of alternating input, but little very simple sensors like this you can hot wire them and rig them to work just simply like this. Now little ball tilt sensors like this are a little problematic. They aren't a perfect science like a mercury switch, but basically when I tilt it back, the LEDs come on, and I tilt it forward and they come off. From here on out, it's kind of gluing everything together and finishing it up. All of the electronics are in. Let's just do a quick little recap. The battery is hidden in here, and it's still rechargeable with this little port. It plugs in, it runs through to a little switch hidden at the top here, or sorry, it'll be at the bottom. And depending on if the switch is on or not, if this ball switch sensor is aimed up, it'll turn on, but when it goes to any other position, it turns off. We're gonna take this part, assemble it, and that'll be it. The mechanism inside works. So if it's aimed kind of straight, it'll turn on, but if I tilt it up, and it needs to be done with just a little bit of force because the ball switch doesn't always activate. So it's being pretty cooperative. See, there it goes. So as long as I do it with some conviction, it'll turn it on and off, and then it turns off. I pick it up, and it turns on. So it does exactly what I need it to. It's all self-contained. And then if I need to get to the battery, all I have to do is unvelcro this little pod back here, and then I can get to the battery, charge it, do whatever. So it fits together nicely. So now I gotta size it up and get it mounted onto the arm. I'm gonna probably use some double stick tape because I don't want this to be permanent. I want it to be, I can take it on and off, and eventually I'll probably figure out a magnet system with the forearm. This way I can just kind of drop it on there, it'll stay, and I can take it back off. But for the sake of the video, we're gonna use some double stick tape because it won't damage my paint job. So let's do that. I also went and made the Wand of Watum. This was a much easier print, and this artifact is actually wielded by the Ancient One in Realm of Champions. Now this is the Marvel Comics version. I didn't have time to get the game version model, but this is a much simpler, easier print that you guys, I'm sure, would enjoy making. If you could follow along for making this thing, this will be an absolute walk in the park. I'm gonna leave links for both of these down below, so make sure you guys go and check that out and support the creators of these. One last really big shout out and huge thank you to Kabam Games for supporting this video. The time crunch, the hours of footage, putting this much work into a video, it has raised my own bar, and I want this level of video to be my new norm. I'm really excited to continue to make videos like this. I have over 7 hours of footage for just making this, so if you guys are interested in seeing more behind the scenes footage of this with more explainers and details and less time lapse, please leave a comment down below and let me know if that's something you guys want to see. I want to invite you guys one last time to please go check out the game. There's a link for it down below. Go try it out. If you like this kind of stuff, I'm sure you're gonna like the game too. You guys helping support this game, help support the company, help support the channel, help support me, and I can continue making stuff like this, maybe even more props from the game. If you guys haven't already, if you could subscribe. As you can see, I get up to a lot of nerdy stuff on this channel, 3D printing, cosplay, all that fun stuff. So if you want to learn how to do any of this, you guys come to the right place, and I know you guys will have a good time. That just about does it for this video, guys. This was so cool to do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a good day.